Welcome to Alien Whispers. If you enjoy the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Now, let's dive into the story. The sand burned beneath Elias Varn's bare feet, each grain searing his skin as he stood in the heart of the Klythar arena. Above, Zeryn's three moons cast a ghostly glow, bathing the roaring crowd in pale light. Hundreds of Klythar lined the towering walls, their teal skin shimmering, golden eyes blazing with hunger for blood. The air crackled with the scent of charred herbs and the rhythmic thud of ceremonial drums. Human, Varkis, the Klythar leader, bellowed from a stone platform high above. His voice shook the arena, his scarred, teal face stern under intricate tattoos. You've defiled our sacred lands. Face our champion, or die where you stand. Elias's pulse hammered, but he squared his shoulders, wrists bound by coarse vines. Days of captivity had left him battered, but his resolve held firm. I didn't come to fight, he shouted, voice cutting through the crowd's jeers. I'm here for my sister, Nora. She was studying your crops to help us all. The Klythar hissed, their murmurs a wave of disbelief. Combat was their creed. Refusal was blasphemy. A guard nearby, gripping a spear, leaned close. Your sister, he growled. The human poking at our fields? She's gone, fool. You'll join her soon. Elias's jaw tightened. Nora, a botanist, had vanished after sending a cryptic message about Klythar agriculture. He'd tracked her to the jungle's edge, the Shadow Vale, only to be ambushed by Klythar hunters. Now, he faced death unless he could sway them. Varkis raised a hand, silencing the crowd. Speak no more of kin until you prove your worth. From the arena's shadowed gate, Syris emerged, her presence chilling the air. Over 7 feet tall, she moved with lethal grace, her teal skin marked with white war paint. A jagged scar sliced her left cheek, and her golden eyes burned with fury. Twin blades gleamed in her hands, catching the moonlight. You'll fall in moments, human, she snarled, voice dripping venom. Your kind always does. Elias met her stare, unflinching. I won't fight you, he said. I won't kill for your sport. If you want me dead, do it now. The arena froze, the crowd's chants dying. Syris advanced, blades flashing, but her sneer wavered, a spark of curiosity in her eyes. You mock our rights? She hissed, circling him. I respect your strength, Elias replied, voice steady. But I came for Nora, not blood. She lunged, her blade grazing his arm, drawing a thin line of blood. Elias sidestepped, refusing to retaliate. The crowd gasped, some jeering, others stunned. Syris paused, blades lowered, her gaze piercing. Why? She demanded. Why throw away your life? Because killing you won't find her, Elias said. Nora believed in your people. So do I. Varkis descended from his platform, robes swirling. His eyes, sharp as blades, studied Elias. This human defies our sacred rights, he declared, voice booming. Yet he speaks of peace and kin. Our ancestors' laws offer a path, the trial of binding. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Syris's face twisted in rage. Binding? With him, she spat. I'm your champion, not his nursemaid. The rights are absolute, Varkis snapped. You will face the Shadow Vale together. Survive 7 days, and both are free. Fail, and the jungle claims you. Elias's stomach nodded. The Shadow Vale was a death trap, its name whispered in fear even among humans. But he nodded. I'll do it. The crowd erupted, some cheering, others shouting in protest. Varkis gestured, and a shaman approached, his robes adorned with glowing vines. He carried a device pulsing with soft light, its surface etched with Klythar runes. Kneel, he commanded. Elias and Syris complied, the sand biting their knees. The shaman clamped the device onto Elias's wrist, then Syris's. A jolt surged through Elias, like lightning in his veins. Suddenly, he felt a flood of emotions not his own. Syris's fury, sharp and searing, mixed with a flicker of doubt. The neural link bound their minds, sharing pain and feelings, tethering them within 10 feet of each other. The bond is forged, the shaman intoned. 7 days. Begin. Syris sprang up, yanking the link, nearly pulling Elias off balance. This is a disgrace, she growled, golden eyes blazing. Elias steadied himself. We can survive if we work together, he said. You know this jungle. I know survival. Let's use it. Work with you. Syris scoffed. I'll drag you through this hell, human. Guards shoved them toward the arena's edge, where the shadow veil loomed. Its trees glowed with bioluminescent leaves, casting an eerie blue haze. Distant roars echoed, and the air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay. Varkis's voice followed them. The shadow veil spares no one. Survive or die as one. Syris strode forward, blades drawn, forcing Elias to match her pace. The neural link pulsed, her anger a constant hum in his mind. Stay out of my way, she warned. I'm not your enemy, Elias said, scanning the glowing trees. We're stuck together. Might as well make it work. She shot him a glare, but said nothing, leading them deeper into the jungle. The crowd's cheers faded, replaced by the jungle's pulse, rustling leaves, unseen creatures, and the weight of their shared fate. Hours later, they reached a narrow path lined with glowing vines. Elias paused, catching his breath. What's out there? He asked, nodding toward the shadows. Everything, Syris replied, eyes scanning the darkness. Beasts, traps, the jungle itself. It's alive, and it hates us. Comforting, Elias muttered. He glanced at the device on his wrist, its faint glow mirroring Syris's. This thing, does it ever stop? No, she said curtly. It binds us until the trial ends. Or we do. Elias nodded, feeling her resolve through the link. Then let's keep moving. Nora's out there, and I'm not dying here. Syris's eyes flickered, a hint of respect buried in her scowl. Move, she said, stepping into the shadows, the neural link pulling Elias along. Keep up, human. Syris's voice cut through the humid air of the shadow veil, sharp as her blades. The jungle was a maze of glowing trees, their bioluminescent leaves casting a ghostly blue light. Vines dangled like snares, some pulsing with eerie glow, others poised to trap. The ground squelched underfoot, slick with mud and roots, and the air reeked of earth and sticky sap. Elias stumbled, the neural device on his wrist sending a jolt of pain as Syris surged ahead. I'm trying, he gasped, clutching his arm where her anger burned through their link. This thing's like a leash. It's a chain, Syris snapped, slashing a glowing vine that curled too close. And if you don't move faster, it'll be your noose. You can't outrun me, Elias said, catching his breath. We're bound, remember? Pull too hard, and we both hurt. Syris whirled, her golden eyes blazing. I could drag you through this jungle and be done with it. Try it, Elias challenged, standing firm. See how far you get before the pain stops you. She took a step, yanking the link, and both winced as a shared stab of agony shot through them. Syris cursed in her native tongue, her teal skin paling. Fine, she muttered. Stay close. They moved on, their steps awkward, the neural device forcing them to match pace. Every misstep sent a ripple of pain, a reminder of their unwanted bond. The jungle grew denser, trees looming like silent giants, their branches woven into a canopy that blocked Zeryn's moons. Strange chirps and rustles filled the air, and Elias's skin prickled with the sense of unseen eyes. Watch your feet, Syris warned, pointing to a patch of ground where vines twitched. Those are snap vines. Step on one, and it'll crush your leg. Elias nodded, sidestepping carefully. You know this place well. I was born in these shadows, Syris said, her voice clipped. Unlike you, stumbling like a child. I've survived worse, Elias replied, scanning the path. Just not with someone trying to ditch me. Syris snorted, but didn't argue, her focus on the jungle. Hours later, they reached a swamp, its dark water reflecting the glowing foliage. Quicksand patches lurked beneath the surface, and the air was thick with the stench of decay. We have to cross this, Elias asked, eyeing the murky expanse. No choice, Syris said. The trial's path lies beyond. Elias crouched, testing the soil. Look for plant growth. It shows firmer ground. We can't trust the surface. Syris raised an eyebrow. You sound like you've done this before. More times than I'd like, Elias said, standing. Let's find a way. They scouted the swamp's edge, Syris hacking through thickets with her blades while Elias searched for solid footing. They found a chain of fallen logs, half submerged, but promising a path across the worst of the mire. Test each step, Elias said, stepping onto the first log. These could be rotten. Syris followed, her movements precise despite her size. Don't lecture me, human. I'm not, Elias said, balancing carefully. Just don't want us both sinking. They crossed slowly, the logs groaning under their weight. Halfway across, a thorn vine lashed out, grazing Syris's arm. She hissed, and Elias felt a sharp sting through the neural link like a needle in his own skin. Syris clutched her wound, blood seeping between her fingers. That's not good, Elias said, steadying her. Let me see. It's nothing, Syris growled, but her voice wavered, and her skin paled around the cut. That's no ordinary thorn, Elias said, his tone urgent. Some plants here are toxic. We need to treat it now. Syris glared, but didn't pull away. You think you know our jungle better than me? I know poison, Elias said, scanning the nearby foliage. He spotted a cluster of broadleaf plants with purple undersides, their edges faintly glowing. Stay put. He moved along the logs, careful not to slip, and plucked several leaves. Crushing them, he released a bitter, earthy sap. He returned to Syris, who watched him warily. This'll sting, he warned, smearing the sap onto her wound. Syris flinched, her breath hitching, but the pain in their link eased. What is that? She asked, her voice softer. Healing herb, Elias said, wiping his hands. Neutralizes toxins. I've seen it on other worlds, and it grows here. Syris studied him, her golden eyes searching. Why help me? I'd have left you to rot. Elias met her gaze. Because we're in this together. If you go down, I do too. She looked away, silent, as they resumed crossing. The swamp's far bank was solid, and they collapsed on a dry ground, catching their breath. The neural link hummed, Syris's emotions a mix of pride and reluctant gratitude. Why's your sister worth all this? Syris asked suddenly, her voice low. What makes her so special? Elias leaned back, staring at the glowing canopy. Nor is my family. After our parents died, we only had each other. She's brilliant, a botanist who sees the world differently. She came here to study your crops, to find ways for our people to coexist. Coexist. Syris's tone was skeptical. Your kind takes, never gives. Not Nora, Elias said firmly. She believes knowledge should be shared. If she's gone, it's because someone didn't want her helping you. Syris considered this, her fingers tracing the healing wound. Our people value family too, but we prove it through strength, through blood. Your way, it's strange. Strength isn't just fighting, Elias said. It's standing up for what matters, even when it's hard. Syris's lips twitched, almost a smile. You're stubborn, I'll give you that. They found a clearing to rest. The jungle's sounds a constant hum around them. Elias broke the silence. Tell me about your rituals. The arena, the champions, what's it all about? Syris hesitated, then spoke. We're warriors. From childhood, we train to fight to protect our lands. The arena is our proving ground, where we earn honor. Champions like me carry the tribe's pride, showing we're unbreakable. But today didn't go as planned, Elias said gently. Must be tough, having your world turn upside down. Syris's eyes darkened. It was your fault, human. You broke the rules. Maybe, Elias said, but maybe rules need breaking sometimes. She looked at him, her expression softening. Perhaps. Strength might mean more than I thought. The neural link pulsed, their emotions intertwining. Elias's hope, Syris's doubt. They sat in silence, the jungle's glow their only light, a fragile trust beginning to form. Stay sharp, Syris whispered, her golden eyes scanning the mist that blanketed the shadow veil. The jungle was eerily silent, the usual hum of insects and rustling leaves replaced by a heavy stillness. Elias felt her tension through the neural link, a prickling unease that mirrored his own. "Something's out there," Elias said, gripping his makeshift spear. "I can feel it." Before Syris could respond, a low growl rumbled through the fog. A massive shape emerged. A beast, its body a grotesque tangle of limbs and jagged teeth, eyes glowing red. More followed, slinking from the shadows, their forms warped and unnatural. "Mutants," Syris hissed, drawing her twin blades. "Krezer's work. His faction must have released them to hunt us." Elias's heart raced. "We can't fight them all. We need a plan." He spotted a narrow ravine nearby, its walls steep and lined with vines. "There! If we lure them in, we can trap them." Syris glanced at the ravine, then at the advancing beasts. "It's a gamble, but it's our best shot." "On my count," Elias said, steadying his voice. 1, 2, 3. They sprinted toward the ravine, the beasts' roars echoing behind them. Elias skidded to a stop at the edge, turning to face the lead mutant. "Come on, you monster!" he shouted, waving his spear. The beast charged, its claws tearing into the earth. Elias dodged at the last second, letting it tumble into the ravine with a crash. Syris engaged another, her blades slicing through its limbs with deadly precision. The neural link pulsed, their movements syncing as if they'd fought together for years. More mutants surged forward, and Elias and Syris fell into a rhythm, Elias baiting them into traps, Syris finishing them off. He led one beast onto a patch of snap vines, which snapped shut, crushing it. Syris leaped onto another, her blades finding its throat. After a grueling battle, the last mutant collapsed, its body oozing black ichor. Elias and Syris stood panting, their clothes stained with blood and sweat. "Too close," Elias said, catching his breath. "Krezer won't stop," Syris replied, wiping her blades. "He'll send more. Then we need shelter," Elias said. "Somewhere to rest and plan." They trekked deeper into the jungle, the mist thinning but the shadows growing darker. Hours later, they found a cave hidden behind a waterfall, its entrance cloaked by vines. Inside, the chamber was vast, its walls covered in ancient Klythar carvings. "Look at these," Elias said, tracing a carving of Klythar tending crops under glowing trees. "They're beautiful." Syris stood beside him, her voice soft. "This was our past, a time when we lived with the land, not against it." "What changed?" Elias asked, sitting against the wall. Syris joined him, her blades resting nearby. "Your people came. They took our resources, burned our fields. We became warriors to survive. The old ways were forgotten." Elias nodded, his voice quiet. "I know loss too. After our parents died, Nora was all I had. I became a mercenary to protect her, but the things I did, I can't undo them." Syris looked at him, her eyes softening. "Why'd you stop?" "Guilt," Elias said simply. "I didn't want to be a killer anymore. Nora showed me there's another way." Syris's gaze dropped. "My family cast me out. I refused a marriage they arranged, chose my own path. They call me a disgrace." "You're no disgrace," Elias said. "You're the strongest person I've ever met." Syris's lips twitched, almost a smile. Their moment was cut short by footsteps outside. Syris grabbed her blades, her voice a whisper. "Hunters!" Elias clutched his spear, and they crept to the entrance. A group of Klythar, led by a scarred warrior, approached. "Krezer," Syris breathed, her voice thick with hatred. "Come out, traitors!" Krezer roared. "Your trial ends here." Elias leaned close. "We can't fight them all. Is there another way out?" Syris nodded. "A back tunnel. Follow me." They slipped into the cave's depths, the neural link guiding their steps in the dark. They felt each other's urgency, moving as one. They emerged behind the waterfall just as the hunters entered the cave. "They'll track us," Syris said, her voice low. "We need to move." Elias agreed, and they vanished into the jungle, their bond tighter than ever. "Watch your step," Syris said, leading Elias over a tangle of glowing roots. The jungle was relentless, its air thick with humidity and the scent of decay. Exhaustion weighed on them, but the neural link kept their resolve sharp. "What's that?" Elias asked, pointing to a glint in the undergrowth. Syris squinted. Looks like metal. Stay here. I'll check. She returned moments later. It's a shuttle, abandoned. Might have something we can use. They approached cautiously, Elias forcing the rusted door open. Inside, the shuttle was cluttered with broken equipment, but a data pad on the console flickered with life. Elias activated it, and Nora's voice crackled through, trembling but resolute. Elias, if you're hearing this, I've been taken. The corporation wants my research on Klythar crops. It could terraform planets, make them rich. They'll kill to keep it. Find me, please. The recording cut off, and Elias felt a surge of fear through the neural link. Nora's fear, raw and piercing. She's alive, Elias said, his voice breaking. We have to find her. Syris's hand rested on his shoulder. We will. But why her? What's so special about her research? Elias took a deep breath. Nora found a way to grow food on barren worlds using Klythar methods. It's revolutionary, but the corporation wants it for profit, not to help anyone. Syris's eyes darkened. Your people again, always taking what's ours. Not all of us, Elias said, his voice firm. Nora wanted to share it with you, to help your people thrive. Syris stepped back, her voice cold. Why should I trust you? Humans Liechtenstein. Oh, destrui. Elias closed his eyes, focusing on the neural link. He pushed a memory forward. Nora in their childhood home, sketching plants, her face alight with dreams of a better world. Feel this, he said. This is who Nora is. Syris stiffened, her breath catching as the memory flooded her mind. She saw Nora's kindness, her hope for peace. When she opened her eyes, they were softer, though guarded. She's different, she is, Elias said. And I'm not here to hurt you. I swear it. Syris studied him, then nodded. If you betray me, human, I'll end you. I won't, Elias said, meeting her gaze. We're in this together. They sat by the shuttle, studying its maps to locate the corporation's base. Syris broke the silence. What's the plan? We find their facility, Elias said. If Nora's there, we get her out, and we stop them from using your people's knowledge. Syris's jaw tightened. They'll pay for what they've done. Together? Elias asked, extending his hand. Syris hesitated, then clasped his forearm, her grip strong. Together, the neural link hummed with their shared resolve, a bond forged not just by necessity, but by choice. The stench of charred wood and blood hit Elias and Syris as they stepped into the Klythar village. Huts that once stood proud were now heaps of ash, their vibrant banners reduced to tattered scraps. Bodies lay strewn across the ground. Warriors, elders, children, their teal skin dulled, golden eyes staring blankly at Zeryn's sky. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the faint crackle of dying embers. Syris, wait, Elias said, grabbing her arm as she surged forward. We need to be careful. She yanked free, her voice trembling. Careful? My people are dead. Syris stumbled through the ruins, her gaze darting from one body to another. She stopped at a young warrior, his spear still clutched in his hand. Kale, she whispered, closing his eyes. You were supposed to lead the next hunt. Elias followed, his chest tight. I'm so sorry. Saw thee? Syris spun on him, her golden eyes blazing. Your kind did this. Humans always take, always destroy. I didn't do this, Elias said, his voice steady but pained. I'm here to stop whoever did. She turned away, her shoulders shaking as she moved deeper into the village. Elias trailed her, stepping over broken pottery and scorched tapestries. The communal hall, once the heart of gatherings, was a collapsed shell, its roof caved in. Syris paused at what remained of a sacred tree, its trunk split by blaster fire, its glowing leaves withered. This was our soul, she said, touching the bark. It fed us, sheltered us. Now it's gone. Elias stood beside her, searching for words. It's not all gone. You're still here. You carry their spirit. Syris's eyes flicked to him, a mix of grief and defiance. What good is it when they're dead? Before he could answer, she froze, her gaze locking on a body near a collapsed hut. She ran to it, dropping to her knees. Aunt Tira, she sobbed, cradling the elderly Klythar's face. Tira's teal skin was cold, her tattoos faded under ash. You raised me. You taught me everything. Elias knelt beside her, his hand hovering over her shoulder. Syris, let me. Don't, she snapped, shoving him back. You can't fix this. My family's gone because of your people. Elias held her gaze, unflinching. I know you're hurting, but I'm not your enemy. I'm here for Nora, to stop this from happening again. Syris's tears fell onto Tira's body, her voice breaking. Why her? Why any of them? I don't know, Elias said softly. But we'll find out. Together. She didn't respond, instead gently arranging Tira's body, whispering a Klythar prayer. Elias stood watch, giving her space but staying close. The neural link hummed with her sorrow, a weight he felt in his own chest. We need to search the village, Elias said after a moment. There might be clues about who did this. Syris nodded, wiping her face. Fine, but I'm not leaving them like this. They began moving through the ruins, Syris identifying the fallen as they went. That's Lyra, the weaver, she said, pointing to a body clutching a half-finished tapestry. And over there, Torin, our best tracker. Elias listened, his respect for her growing with each name. He scanned the debris, his eyes catching a glint under a fallen beam. He dug through the ash, pulling out a small data chip, its surface scratched but intact. Syris, look at this. She approached, her curiosity cutting through her grief. What's that? A data chip, Elias said, pulling a portable device from his pack. Let's see if it works. He inserted the chip, and after a flicker of static, Nora's voice filled the air, strained but clear. Elias, if you're hearing this, I've been taken by the corporation. They want my research on Klythar crops. It could make barren planets habitable. But they'll use it for profit. Not good. You have to stop them. Find me, please. The message cut off, and Syris stared at Elias, her eyes narrowing. Your sister knew this was coming. She was trying to help, Elias said, his voice firm. Nora wanted to share your people's knowledge, not steal it. The corporation saw her as a threat. Syris's fists clenched. They killed my people for crops? For profit. Elias nodded, his jaw tight. That's what it looks like. But Nora's still out there. She might know how to stop them. Syris turned back to Tira's body, her voice low. They took everything from me. My home, my family. They'll pay. We'll make sure of it, Elias said. But we need to find Nora first. She's the key. Syris didn't answer immediately, instead gathering stones to mark the bodies. Elias helped, following her lead as she performed the Klythar burial rites. She placed a stone on each chest, chanting softly, her voice steady despite the tears. As they worked, Syris found a small necklace among Tira's belongings, its pendant carved with a glowing leaf. She clutched it, her voice barely audible. She gave this to me when I became a warrior. Said it would guide me. Elias watched her, his voice gentle. It still can. You're carrying her strength now. Syris slipped the necklace on, her resolve hardening. You're right. I can't let this break me. They finished the burials, the mass grave a solemn testament to the village's loss. Syris stood over it, her prayer complete. I'll fight for you, she said, her voice fierce. For all of you. And I'll start by helping him find Nora. Elias stepped closer, extending his hand. Partners, then. Syris clasped his forearm, her grip like iron. Partners. Don't move, Syris whispered, raising her hand as a rustling sound echoed through the shadow veil. Elias froze, gripping his makeshift spear tightly, feeling her tension through their neural bond. The bioluminescent glow of the trees illuminated her teal skin, highlighting the scar on her cheek. Is it a beast? Elias asked, his voice low. No. A deep voice resonated from the darkness. It's us. From the underbrush, a group of Klythar emerged, led by an elder with intricate scar patterns on his skin. His golden eyes gleamed with wisdom. I am Terran, shaman of the Shadow Veil tribe, he said. Syris, Elias, we've been waiting for you. Syris lowered her blade, surprised. Terran? I thought you died in the attack. I was away, gathering herbs, Terran replied, his voice heavy with sorrow. When I returned, there was only ash. Follow me. We have a camp nearby. They trekked through the jungle to a hidden camp nestled in a grove of glowing trees. Tents made of leaves and animal hides were scattered around a small fire. The surviving Klythar, about 24, watched them with a mix of hope and suspicion. Sit, Taryn said, gesturing to mats by the fire. A young warrior, Kale, brought bowls of herbal broth, his eyes wary of Elias. You're human, Kale said, his tone sharp. Why should we trust you? Syris stood, her voice firm. Elias has fought beside me. He's not our enemy. Elias nodded. I came to find my sister, Nora. She was studying your plants to help both our species. The corporation took her, and they destroyed your village. Taryn raised a hand, signaling silence. He speaks the truth, Kale. The corporation has been tracking us for months. Nora's research threatened their profits. They attacked to wipe us out and seize our technology. Syris gripped her sword hilt. They'll pay. But first, we need to find Nora. Taryn glanced at their wrists, where the neural device glowed faintly. That device, it's ancient technology, linking minds in pain. I can remove it, but the ritual is dangerous. Elias looked at Syris, feeling her resolve through the bond. We want to keep it, he said. It's helped us survive. Syris nodded. It's part of us now. Removing it feels wrong. Taryn smiled faintly. I understand, but be cautious. A prolonged bond can blur the boundaries between you. We'll deal with that when the time comes, Elias said. Now, tell us about the corporation. Where's Nora? Taryn activated a small device, projecting a holographic map of the jungle. Their facility is north, near the cliffs. It's heavily guarded, drones, automated turrets. But there's a service tunnel to the east, less protected. Elias studied the map, memorizing entry points. We can use the tunnel, but we'll need a distraction. Kale stepped forward, his eyes alight. I can do that. A few explosions in the jungle will throw them into chaos. Syris clapped his shoulder. Good idea. We'll slip in while they're distracted. Another warrior, Lyra, spoke up. I'm going too. My family died in the attack. I want vengeance. Elias met her gaze, sensing her determination through the neural bond. All right. We need everyone who can fight. Taryn nodded. I'll provide 5 warriors, including Kale and Lyra. They're our best. Syris turned to Elias. Think we can pull this off? We have to, Elias replied. Nora's waiting, and we can't let the corporation keep going. Their neural bond hummed with their shared resolve. Taryn handed Syris a small vial. This is a neutralizer for the neural device. If the bond becomes too intense, use it to temporarily sever it. Syris took it, tucking it into her belt. Thank you, Taryn, but I hope we won't need it. Taryn looked at them, his gaze profound. You're more than allies. You're a symbol of hope for both Klythar and humans. Elias felt warmth from Taryn's words, but kept his tone practical. Hope is good, but we need a solid plan. We enter through the tunnel, find Nora, and destroy anything tied to her research. Lyra tilted her head. Destroy? Why not take it back? It's too dangerous, Elias explained. If the corporation uses your technology, they'll keep ravaging other planets. Kale nodded. He's right. We can't let them win. Taryn pointed at the map. The tunnel leads to a storage area. Nora might be there, or in a nearby lab. But be careful. Their security systems are advanced. Syris gave a faint smile. We've faced mutant beasts and hunters. A few drones don't scare us. Elias grinned, feeling her confidence through the bond. Exactly, but we need to coordinate. Kale, you lead the distraction team. Lyra, you're with us in the tunnel. Lyra nodded. I'm ready. As the sun set, the group gathered to prepare. Elias checked his gear while Syris sharpened her blades. Taryn approached, handing Elias a small communicator. Use this if you need support. We'll monitor from here. Thanks, Elias said, pocketing the device. We won't let you down. Taryn placed a hand on her shoulders. You're not just fighting for Nora or our tribe. You're fighting for the future. Remember that. Syris gripped her sword hilt. We will, and we'll be back. They stood, the small team of warriors assembling behind them. Kale checked his incendiary bombs, his eyes blazing. Lyra tied back her hair, ready for battle. Elias and Syris took the lead, their neural bond a guiding flame in the darkness. "Stay low," Syris whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of drones patrolling above. The corporate facility loomed ahead, a fortress of sleek metal and glass, its energy fences pulsing with blue light. The shadow veil's glowing trees faded behind them, replaced by the sterile glow of security lamps. Elias crouched beside her, feeling her focus through the neural link, their movements synced like a single heartbeat. "Those drones are everywhere," Elias said, eyeing the hovering machines. "How do we get past them?" Syris pointed to a service hatch half hidden by vines. "There. Kale's diversion should draw them away." As if on cue, explosions rocked the jungle's edge, Kale's bombs lighting up the night. The drones whirred toward the chaos, leaving a gap in their patrol. "Now!" Syris hissed, sprinting for the hatch. Elias followed, the neural link guiding his steps to match hers. They pried open the hatch, slipping into a narrow tunnel reeking of oil and rust. The air was stifling, but they pressed on, emerging into a corridor lined with glowing panels. "This place is a maze," Elias muttered, scanning the signs. "Lab's this way, right?" Syris nodded, her blades drawn. "Stay sharp. Guards could be anywhere." They moved silently, the neural link alerting them to each other's instincts. Syris's caution when a camera swiveled, Elias's quick dodge behind a crate when footsteps echoed. They reached a lab door marked Botanical Research, and Syris forced it open with a quiet grunt. Inside, the lab was a jungle of technology and nature. Klythar plant samples glowed under artificial lights, their bioluminescent leaves casting eerie shadows. A woman in a lab coat spun around, her eyes wide. "Who are you?" "Don't touch that alarm," Elias warned, stepping forward. "You're Dr. Lena Kors, aren't you? We're here for Nora." Lena's hand froze over the alarm button. "Nora's gone. They moved her to the orbital station days ago." Syris advanced, her voice low. "Then why are you still here, working for them?" Lena's shoulders slumped. "I didn't know what they were planning. I thought we were advancing agriculture, not wiping out a species." "What do you mean?" Elias asked, his tone urgent. Lena gestured to the plants. "These Klythar crops can terraform barren planets in months, not decades. The corporation wants to control it, make trillions. They're eliminating the Klythar to ensure no one else can use it." Syris's grip tightened on her blades. "They kill my people for profit?" Lena nodded, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry. I didn't know until it was too late." Elias felt Syris's rage through the neural link, a burning wave. "Focus," he said softly. "Lena, can you help us find Nora?" "She left something," Lena said, moving to a terminal. "A program to get you out." She typed rapidly, and a holographic message flickered to life. Nora's face, strained but resolute. "Elias, I've been transferred to the orbital station. The corporation's using my research to terraform planets, but they'll destroy the Klythar to keep it exclusive. I've programmed an escape route into this system. Follow it to the shuttle bay. Be careful." The message ended, and Lena turned to them. "I can guide you to the shuttle, but we need to hurry. Security's tight." "Why should we trust you?" Syris asked, her eyes narrowing. Lena met her gaze. "Because I want to stop them too. I can't live with this on my conscience." Elias nodded, sensing her sincerity through the link. "Lead the way." They moved through the lab, Lena disabling cameras as they went. But as they reached a corridor, alarms blared, red lights flashing. "They know we're here," Lena said, panic creeping into her voice. "Stay calm," Elias said. "We've got this." Syris's blades gleamed as she took point. "Let's move." The corridor echoed with the clatter of boots as corporate guards poured in, led by a man in a tailored suit, Marcus Dre, his cold eyes locking onto them. "You've gone far enough," he said, his voice dripping with menace. "Surrender or die." Elias stepped forward, his makeshift weapon raised. "We're not leaving without Nora." Dre smirked, signaling his guards. "She's not here, but you'll make fine prisoners." Syris lunged, her blades a blur. "Not today." The fight erupted, guards firing blasters as Elias and Syris duff for cover. The neural link was their edge, letting them move as one. When Syris feinted left, Elias knew to strike right, disarming a guard with a swift blow. When a blaster aimed at Elias, Syris was there, deflecting it with her blade. "Lena, where's the detention block?" Elias shouted, ducking a shot. "Down the hall, third door," Lena yelled, crouching behind a crate. They fought their way forward, leaving a trail of unconscious guards. Syris took a hit to her shoulder, and Elias winced as the pain seared through their link. "You okay?" he asked, covering her. "Keep moving," she growled, her blade still deadly. They reached the detention block, a heavy door barring their way. Lena typed in a code, her hands shaking. "Hurry, they're closing in." The door slid open, revealing a small cell. Nora sat inside, pale and thin but fierce. "Elias," she cried, rushing to him. "No time," Syris said, scanning the corridor. "More guards are coming." Nora grabbed a device from her pocket. "I've got the escape program. It'll get us to the shuttle." They sprinted through the facility, alarms screaming as explosions shook the walls. "Self-destruct sequence," Lena gasped. "They're blowing the place." "Which way?" Elias asked, dodging a falling panel. "Left," Nora shouted, leading them through a maze of corridors. They burst into the shuttle bay, a sleek craft waiting in the center. Guards poured in behind them, Dre's voice booming over the intercom. "You can't escape. This ends now." Syris whirled, her blades flashing. "Cover Nora." Elias and Syris fought back to back, their neural link making them unstoppable. Elias tripped a guard, stealing his blaster, while Syris dispatched another with a precise strike. Lena helped Nora into the shuttle, her hands fumbling with the controls. "Get in," Nora yelled, activating the engines. Elias fired a final shot, knocking Dre back, then dove into the shuttle with Syris. The craft roared to life, lifting off as the bay doors buckled under explosions. Through the viewport, they saw the facility erupt in flames, a fireball consuming the fortress. "We're clear," Lena said, her voice shaky but relieved. Elias turned to Nora, gripping her hand. "You okay?" "Weak, but alive," she said, her smile faint. "They wanted me to finish the terraforming program. I stalled them." Syris cleaned her blades, her voice steady. "You're tougher than you look." Nora nodded. "Thanks for coming for me." Elias felt Syris's pride through the link, a warmth amidst the chaos. "Where to now?" he asked. "The hidden archipelago," Nora said, plotting the course. "The Klythar are waiting." As the shuttle soared over Zeryn's ocean, Elias looked at Syris. "We did it. For now," she replied, her eyes on the horizon. "But the orbital station's next." "This place is unreal," Elias said, stepping off the shuttle onto a sandy beach. The twin suns of Zeryn bathing the hidden archipelago in golden light. Huts woven from local vines stood beside sleek human structures, paths lined with glowing plants weaving through them. Nora's eyes sparkled as she gestured around. "We built it together, humans and Klythar. Our knowledge, their traditions. It's a new start." Syris's golden eyes widened, taking in the bustling community. "I never imagined our people could live like this." Side by side, a group approached, led by Terran, his teal skin etched with intricate tattoos. "Welcome," he said, voice warm. "You've brought light to our shadows." Elias clasped Terran's arm. "We owe you. Your guidance got us here." Terran smiled. "And you've given us hope. Come, share our table." As they walked, Syris glanced at Elias. "Feel that?" she asked, touching her wrist where the neural device hummed. "Yeah," Elias replied, meeting her gaze. "It's still us." Nora noticed, her voice curious. "That device, it's kept you together?" Syris nodded. "Through beasts, hunters, everything. It's more than a chain now." They entered a central hut, where Klythar and humans shared a feast of roasted roots and fish. Laughter filled the air, a stark contrast to the shadow veil's dangers. Nora leaned toward Syris. "How did you two survive out there?" Syris's voice softened. "We had no choice. The link made us one," Elias added, and we learned to trust each other. Saved our lives. Terran, seated nearby, spoke up. Your bond is rare, but it was forced upon you. I can remove the device, if you wish. Elias looked at Syris, feeling her resolve through the link. What do you say? Syris touched the device, her voice steady. It's part of us. It show me who you are, Elias. I'm not ready to let that go. Elias nodded, a smile tugging at his lips. Same here. It's our strength. Terran's eyes crinkled with approval. Then it remains. A symbol of unity, not just for you, but for all here. Nora raised a cup of glowing juice. To unity. To this place. Syris lifted hers, her voice firm. To those we lost, and those we'll save. They drank, the hut alive with shared stories. For the first time, Elias and Syris felt not just survival, but belonging. The next morning, Elias, Syris, Nora, and Terran gathered in the hut. Maps and plans spread before them. The community buzzed outside, children's laughter mingling with the hum of work. The corporation's still out there, Nora said, her voice sharp. They'll hunt us, especially after we took their shuttle. Terran's gaze was steady. We'll be ready. Together, we're unstoppable. Syris leaned forward, her blades resting nearby. We need to hit them first. Expose their crimes to the galaxy. Elias nodded. If we broadcast Nora's research and their attacks, other worlds might step in. Genocide's a galactic crime. Nora's eyes lit up. I've got contacts, scientists, activists. They'll spread the word if we get them the data. Terran placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. You've already changed our fate, but the path ahead is long. Elias turned to Syris. You in for this? Her golden eyes met his, unwavering. Till the end. They stepped outside, where fields of Klythar crops grew beside human greenhouses. Klythar taught humans to tend bioluminescent plants, while humans shared solar tech. A young Klythar ran past, chasing a human child, their giggles a promise of peace. That evening, Elias and Syris climbed a cliff overlooking the ocean, the twin suns sinking in a blaze of color. The neural link pulsed softly, their emotions intertwined. Think we can really stop them? Syris asked, her voice quiet. Elias gazed at the horizon. We have to. For your people, for Nora, for everyone here. Syris's fingers brushed his. And for us. He smiled, warmth spreading through him. Yeah, for us too. They stood in silence, the link a bridge between their hearts. The waves below whispered of challenges yet to come, but also of hope. Whatever's next, Syris said, her voice firm, we face it together. Elias squeezed her hand, feeling her strength. Together, as night fell, the community glowed below, a beacon of what could be. Humans and Klythar worked side by side, their shared labor a defiance of the corporation's greed. Do you ever think about what we were? Syris asked, her eyes on the stars. Enemies? Elias said, chuckling. Feels like a lifetime ago. She turned to him, her smile rare but genuine. Now we're something else. Something better. He nodded, the link humming with their shared resolve. Partners. Maybe more someday. Syris's laugh was soft. Maybe. Let's see where this takes us. The archipelago, once a refuge, was now a symbol of hope. Here, two species had forged a new path, blending technology and tradition. Elias and Syris knew their fight wasn't over, but with the neural link binding them and their hearts aligned, they were ready for whatever lay ahead.